Well, hi, I'm Rick Dancer, and this is a special edition of Get Real with Rick Dancer because it's not really about Get Real with Rick Dancer. It's about one of our sponsors, New Leaf Hyperbarics and Wellness Center, Matt McCarl. I was online the other day and I'm watching him, and he's talking about some of the cool things that he's doing. He went and had some stem cell implanted into his some wrist problems that he's been having. I was so fascinated with it because I'm kind of looking into this for my shoulder. And so we had a conversation about that. Plus, he's written, Matt has a really interesting story about how he got into business and how he got into the hyperbarics business and light therapy. And he's now written up in a book talking about a whole chapter that Matt wrote about that. So I said, gosh, would you just sit down and talk with me about what you're doing and how this is all working? And he said, sure. So this is just an interview. You can pass it on to friends. You can listen to it, find out more about it. I'm going to play first before the show starts. I'm going to play his commercial that's coming up because Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. May 1st, he has a huge special going on, and he's going to tell you about that right now. And then he'll tell you about the rest of the story. You'll really enjoy this.
The ones that aren't lining up are the infrared because our eyes can't see that spectrum of light.
Yeah.
But the cool part about the head cap is that not only does it work as a head cap, but we can unvelcro it, use it on the knee.
Yep.
Or a lot of baseball players use it on their shoulder.
Oh, yeah.
Especially pitchers for heating up their shoulder, getting it ready for pitching a game.
Right.
Hello, everyone. Matt McCarl with New Leaf Hyperbarics and Wellness. And it's almost that time of the year. That time of the year is May. May 1st is a special day for us here at New Leaf Hyperbarics. That is the day we do our second lowest price point sale of the year, which means you can get hyperbarics for $70, massage for $70 an hour, or our power bed for only $35 an hour. No, you can get as many as you would like to put on your account for the rest of the year. And you can use those at any point of the year, but you can only buy them on May 1st. Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. I'm out of credits. I need some hyperbarics. Give New Leaf Hyperbarics and Wellness a call.
McCarl, and this is Matt, and he's joining us now because I was following him. Well, I always follow him on Facebook. I don't, I'm not in a car like looking for you. You know that because I'm in Montana.
Well, I don't know. Sometimes I turn around and there you are.
But I was following, and I saw where you had written. You were talking on a podcast to somebody. You had written a chapter in a book. And I thought, Matt, I want to know more about this, but we're also going to talk with Matt a little bit about stem cells because Matt recently had some stem cells work done. And this is completely new to me, but I'm hearing a lot about it. So we're going to talk about both those topics on this little broadcast here. And Matt, if you guys don't know, where have you been? He's the owner of New Leaf Hyperbarics and Wellness Center. And if you don't know that and you're watching this, there's no more help for you in the world. So Matt, tell me about this chapter in the book. So what was this for?
So a company called Mission Matters reached out to me about a year ago, wanting me to share my story with them because they compile a bunch of other entrepreneurs, folks that are either starting a really cool new business or are new to entrepreneurship, or maybe they've even been in entrepreneurship for several years and they run like multi-billion-dollar companies, and share their story or like their unique ability for running a business and how they came to do that, or something like that. So I got to write this really cool chapter in their book about how I learned about hyperbarics, and basically the story is how an injury in my life sparked this really cool entrepreneurial enterprise.
So is that kind of the lesson that people need to learn, is that I think we're all waiting for the perfect job, but when all of a sudden the perfect thing might come up out of the worst moment of your life. And you know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. A lot of times there's a lot of, seeing the light through the darkness, if you will. For example, the dark times, as we call them, right? 2020, all that stuff. There's been some really interesting things and cool opportunities for folks that have come out of that.
Is it attitude? What do you think if in your career and what you were doing in finding new leads? In fact, just tell people, because I know, but tell people what was going on and how you stumbled upon this.
I actually had come out of a 20-year career in a completely different industry and was working in the healthcare industry, almost a complete 180 to what I was doing. And due to an injury I had there, just aging, basically the vertebrae in my neck had compressed, and learned about hyperbarics through an opportunity that I was doing because of getting laid off from my other job. Just a whole bunch of things accumulated to me learning about hyperbarics and then what it was doing for folks. So I was able to bring it to Eugene, where I just knew it had to be.
So you needed to use it to try it. Were you skeptical at first?
Not really, because I had seen what the other folks were doing, and they had been established for 5 or 6 years by then. I can't remember exact time, all blurs together now. And so I knew that it couldn't just be some kind of fluke, weird thing. If this couple had been in business for that long, helping as many people as they had helped in Washington, that it couldn't just be some weird, like, fluke or fake thing where people were selling snake oil. I just knew it couldn't be that way with all the results that I was seeing from what they were showing and sharing in their presentation. And then when I tried it, I knew it for sure.
So an injury that was a bad thing turns into a brand new life, and you doing what you've discovered that you really love, because this is really helping people.
Yeah.
Exactly. Is that the lesson?
The lesson is not letting something necessarily bad be the worst day of your life. It can become something really cool for the rest of your life if you know what to look for.
Or possibly, instead of, because I was sitting here when you said that, I thought, actually, that wasn't a bad thing. It was actually, it was a really good, maybe that's what we do sometimes, is we look at things as bad when really it's like, like God's up there going, oh, hold on, Matt. God, would you just shut up for a minute? It's coming. It's coming. I've got this thing coming,
Right. Well, for those of us that are of age that remember photography back when we used to have film, and maybe some of us did, like I studied photography in high school. So you have the negative, and looking at the negative, it's like this, you're like, that just looks horrible. And this is not what I took a picture of. But then you develop the negative and it becomes this amazing picture. So sometimes we all just look at the negative. And what we need to do is wait for that negative to develop into the beautiful picture that it can become, if you know how to look at it and develop it correctly.
And then it becomes the positive.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what this chapter, how can people find it if they wanted to read not only the book, but also what you're part of the book?
Right. It's going to be available on Amazon. I don't know the release date yet. It's still getting finished.
Okay. So you'll let me know, we can tell people.
Yeah. But yeah, there's other Mission Matters books on. This isn't their first. This is like volume number or something or other. So they've done multiples of them, and they do podcasts and all kinds of stuff all the time for folks that are entrepreneurial and want to learn more from other business folks. Yeah, find them on LinkedIn and different places and listen to their podcasts.
So what is it about you that you're not afraid to try different stuff? You know what I mean? I was talking about you the other day, not publicly, but now I am. And I was talking to somebody else and I said, Matt is my friend who, like, I trust him. So I know, because we were talking about the stem cell thing. I said, but when he first gave me the light therapy, I'm looking at it going, light therapy? What the hell is light therapy? And then I did it. And it's like, but you are just not afraid. And then, so when I saw this online, I wasn't sure what you did until I asked you and you said it was stem cell. I'm going to have you tell us about it. But what is it about you and your life that you're not afraid to go outside the medical box to find a solution to problems?
I would say it was just probably a lot about how I was raised. Growing up on a farm, for example, my dad never really took our animals to a vet. We just did what we needed to do with them at home. And so I learned a lot about, how to take care of animals and different things without necessarily using a physician to do it, that we could learn how to take care of things ourselves. And we always ran all our cattle into the barn and put them in the squeeze chute, gave them the medicine ourselves, and did all the things ourselves. We didn't need the vet to come do it. So I think that's part of where my background comes from, and that is that I don't necessarily think that I need the person with the medical knowledge, the little initials behind their name to do the
Right.
work for me, that I can pick up a book and read and learn myself.
And everything you deal with, what's so funny about it is, I mean, there's a lot of technology here, but I mean, with hyperbarics, it's basically oxygen. I mean, you know what I mean?
Oxygen and physics. I mean,
You,
really, it's just oxygen and physics. So
you're like the ultimate naturalist, you know what I mean? And then with light therapy, it's the same thing. It's light therapy. I mean, obviously a lot goes into the infrared and that kind of thing, but it's understanding this is just light. And look how we've learned that light helps people with SAD and all that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
So it's really using and maybe an unnatural kind of light, but it's imitating a natural light to help us to heal.
Right. And not necessarily that it's a natural light, it's getting rid of all the bad parts of light. Like there's no UV, there's none of the other spectrum of light that isn't good for us, that can do the big C word if you did too much of it, and all the other things like that. It's just using the good spectrum and the good frequencies that are attuned to our body to give it the energy to do what it needs to do to heal itself.
So now tell me about this stem cell. I want to know, I really want to know what was going on, and then how did you find out about this?
Well, unfortunately, or fortunately, I don't know.
This could be a good thing. This could be your
The
positive.
decade that I grew up in, well, it is a positive thing, because the decade I grew up in, we started learning about computers, and I'm a kid of the 80s through middle school, high school time. So computers were becoming a big thing then, and then, gaming systems. And so I probably played a little too much Nintendo as a kid and too much Xbox type of things. And then phones came. And so it's pretty much repetitive motion, doing this on either this on my phone or this with the Nintendo and different things like that.
Right.
So basically in this joint down here, my thumb, this one right here, and this thumb, I have what could be considered repetitive motion syndrome that was turning into, Uncle Arthritis. Plus I have a bone spur in this hand as well, which doesn't help us up at all. So it was hard to, my grip wasn't as good as it used to be. It hurt to do different things with my hands and my thumbs. So I went to my physical therapist, and I had talked to him about this. Some folks had mentioned trigger point therapy to me, where they inject your joints with saline or other fluids to give it a little cushion and help alleviate the inflammation and degradation that's in those joints. And when I went to my physical therapist, he's like, well, yeah, you could do that, but I have a better idea. Why don't you go up to Portland and go to this place called Restore PDX, talk with this doctor about having just PRP done, which is platelet-rich plasma injections. So I went up and I did that first, which helped. And we also followed that with a little prolotherapy, which is some other medication type stuff. I opted out of the steroid portion of that because I didn't really like the steroids. Steroids can break down your joints after time and different things like that. So steroids are good, but they're also not good. Too much of them can be really bad. So I opted out of the steroid portion. And so I did that back September, I think it was November, last fall, and things got better. And with PRP and stem cells, you're boosting your body or giving your body a signal to repair itself. And so the PRP worked, but not as well as I wanted it to. So talking with the doctor in January, being like, hey, my thumbs are getting better, but they're still not as great as I'd like them to be. He goes, well, we could take the next ramp up, and we could do 3 more rounds of the prolotherapy, or we could do PRP and stem cells, or we could do a combination of the both. And I went, well, let's just go all in and do a combination of both. So I went for 6 weeks, every other Tuesday, 3 times. I went up and got the prolotherapy. So Tuesday, week off, Tuesday, week off, Tuesday, week off, Tuesday.
Okay.
I got the prolotherapy injections, which, that kind of prepped the joints. However, during that time when I started doing that therapy, I was also in my chamber at my house an hour to 90 minutes in the morning and an hour and 90 minutes at night to start getting my body ready for the PRP and the stem cells.
So if people don't know what Matt's talking about when he says his chamber, I just want to explain.
My hyperbaric chamber at my house.
He has a hyperbaric chamber at his house. So he's getting that full 100% oxygen. So his body is ready for this treatment.
Right. Yeah. Well, yeah, we're flooding your body. I'm flooding with my body with about 4 times the amount of oxygen what you would normally get. Just even if you're breathing 100% oxygen with a mask or something like that, your body will only hold what the red blood cells will hold until you put yourself under pressure, and then the oxygen is able to dissolve into your plasma. So that's the magic. But because I was doing that, that keyed my body. That there's been tons of studies showing that hyperbarics will help your body quantify the amount of stem cells that it's making. And so I did that the weeks prior to my procedure with the PRP and the stem cells. Every time I got prolo, that whole, from the day I started the prolotherapy all the way up to the day that I did my stem cell treatment, I was in the chamber twice a day, at least an hour to an hour and a half in the morning, and an hour to an hour and a half at night, just to really get the body making stuff. And so when I went up there, they drew 260 cc's, I want to say they said, of blood, spun that down. And what that does is that takes all the platelets that are in all your blood and packs them into the plasma, because in the centrifuge, it separates the plasma from the red blood, all the things, and makes just a lot of complicated big words. But basically taking all the good stuff out of your blood to help your body heal and putting it in this really super rich, thick plasma. And then they also went into a section on my lower back, kind of like a little, and took some subcutaneous fat tissue and then took the stem cells out of that and mixed that with the platelet-rich plasma, mixed that all together, and then injected my thumb here, this joint as well, and then this joint here. They need a little work down here with a tendon as well. And that tricks the body, or tells the body, the stem cells and everything is what helps the body heal in the first place. If you were able to, they have found that if you get stem cells from the placenta of a fetus after it's born, those are like the gold of stem cells, because they're young, fresh, and just full of all that power to help things grow. Because think about how fast an infant grows and all that, and that's because their stem cells are so fresh. So ours still do work, but I've just packed a ton of them right in that spot.
So is the idea then that the stem cell, by putting that in there, it triggers the body and says, that stem cell says, we're repairing it, and it goes right to the zone that needs repaired. It knows.
Exactly, and then starts going to work on it. So unlike a surgery where they'll go in and clean up the joint and do all the things, really invasive, maybe even replace the joint, and then you got you feel better, pretty quick, because like I remember my back surgery. When I had my back surgery, my leg was all numb and it hurt for forever until I had surgery. I had surgery, and within a couple of days, my leg felt better, and it just kept feeling better throughout the next couple of days to a couple of weeks, and then I was back to normal after a couple of months. With stem cells and PRP, since it's the body's natural healing effect, it can take a little bit of time. But thankfully, I have this magic equipment that helps things go a little quicker.
So is this like the newest technology? Because why I find this so interesting is I was telling you before we went on here, I was talking to a woman who they're doing stem cell patches, and they're really having some interesting results with people going in and because I was talking about my shoulder's bad, and she goes, before you go do surgery, you should try this to see, because then you're not invasive. That's so invasive, and you're 8 weeks without doing anything. And to try something different. Is that what we're learning? Especially you, I feel like you're my new Leaf Hyperbarics guru, but is that what we're learning? And this is none of this is medical advice, you guys. This is just Matt researching and doing things that it's alternative medicine. And so he's not a doctor, but he reads up a lot, and we know that oxygen, the results are the results. And anybody can go read up on stem cells. How did you find out about stem cells, and where can people go look up more information?
Oh, you can PubMed or Google Scholar, all kinds of things about stem cells. I've been hearing about stem cells for 3 or 4 years now through the hyperbarics world. They've been doing a lot of studies with hyperbarics and helping the body itself just produce more stem cells inside naturally by using hyperbarics to quantify what the body's already doing and building more stem cells for you, which is going to help you be healthier, have more of that younger, youthful look, if you will, and keep you from being that right there. Keep you from getting maybe injuries heal faster because your body's acting younger than it really is.
Right.
With more stem cells. And there's been, like I said, they've been doing studies in Israel and all kinds of countries over the last 6 years or so, I want to say, for as far as hyperbarics and stuff. But they've also been doing a lot of stem cell transplant, using stem cells for different things. And as they started doing more and more stuff with stem cells, they're learning how beneficial it is. Just since I started going up to Portland, I think I'd been going to Portland for like a month or so to Restore PDX. I started hearing commercials on the radio for a place called QC Kinetics, which happens to be less than a mile from my office over on Country Club Road, who does the same thing that Restore PDX does. So it's becoming more and more popular. Like I will tell you that probably for the last decade or longer, a lot of folks in Hollywood and Boca Raton, Florida, and all those places, they've been doing this for a while.
The beautiful people. and now the rest of us get some.
Right.
Now that the beautiful people have had it, it's time for the rest of us to get involved in this thing. Hey, Matt, before I let you go, would you remind people, because I'm going to air this prior to May 1st, would you tell them about the big May Day thing? Because you know how when you were a little kid that May Day was somebody would leave flowers on your doorstep and then ring the doorbell and run away? Well, Matt does something way better than that for May Day.
Right. So a couple years ago, after running the clinic for a while, I learned we used to have only one big sale of the year, and I learned that folks would start running out about this time of the year of all the credits that they had booked on their account back in November. And then I wouldn't see those folks again for a while, even though they needed the treatments. I wouldn't see them for a while till November came along again. So I decided to make another big sale of the year. And that's May 1st. I just call it May Day, May Day, May Day. I'm about out of credits and I need some hyperbarics. So it's a one-day sale, very much like our Green Saturday. It's the second lowest price point of the year. So this year, there's $70 a piece, hyperbarics or hour massage. And we're doing $35 on our power bed. As many treatments as you want to get and put on your account to use throughout the summer. Love to have you come in and try it out.
So you prepay, you buy everything ahead of time, and then you can just make your appointment. So if you know you're going to do 30 treatments over the next, 5 months or 6 months or something, you buy them all at once at a discount, and you don't have to be sitting there paying that thing out all the time.
Right, exactly.
And the power bed is the light therapy, because sometimes people don't know what that. I've had somebody ask me the other day, Matt has a chamber and he has a power bed. And I said, okay, let me explain what's going on here. Exactly. The chamber is the hyperbaric chamber. The power bed is light therapy.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
You need to be clear about this stuff, Matt.
Yeah, we can't confuse the power bed with the power rings.
No.
But you power rings, you know what those are, right?
Yeah.
Donuts. They're donuts.
They're very good. They're very good for you when you get out of the hyperbaric chamber.
Right. No.
Hey, Matt, thank you for sharing your the story about what you were doing with the book. But I really like the stem cell stuff too. I think we should do more on this and find out more. I want to and keep in touch with us. Like be letting me know how that's all working. Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right, Matt McCarl. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, see you later. All right, you guys. So if you're looking for a different kind of treatment, something a little out of the ordinary, but things that has great results, you go look it up yourself. Matt can tell you where to go, but you can look up hyperbarics. You can look up light therapy, stem cells, and Matt doesn't do the stem cell stuff. I just want to make sure of that. He's just doing it, having it done to himself. But those are great things you can do. And don't miss out on the May Day special. All right. Thanks for joining us. That's a short one, but man, that's packed with some good stuff. All right. We'll see you guys later. Have a good day.